And to another breaking news today, in a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court, as we know it, has now granted financial autonomy to all 774 local government areas in Nigeria. And this means they'll now receive their allocations directly from the Federation account. No more middlemen. The court also made it clear that appointing caretaker committees instead of conducting elections is unconstitutional. The tradition of state governments dodging elections to keep control over local council might now be a thing of the past. Recall that the federal government took the 36 states to court over this issue. And today's judgment is considered a big win for democracy and local governance. We're tracking that story. We earlier scheduled the Minister of Foreign Affairs to be on the show today. We apologize. We're just hearing he can't join us. But we're going to stay with these as we follow up what the implication of the Apex Court is on grassroots development and how governors are expected to react following this new development. Honorable Akala Samuel used to be a chairman in one of the local governments, Karu local government in Nasarawa State. He joins me on the program this evening for more on this development. The last time we spoke, Honorable Samuel, you were optimistic that this judgment will go exactly this way. How did you react? I'm wondering what your reaction is hearing that the Supreme Court has given this a nod.
Very much. I think I've been vindicated. I'm super excited. Since morning, I've been in a very, very happy mood. Today is victory for democracy. Today, I salute the courage and the dexterity of Mr. President to have filed that case. You are aware that every time Mr. President comes up, you recall that former President Buhari came up with the issue of local government autonomy, and the governors rose up against that move, and it died a natural death. And that is because the governors have put themselves in a position where they determine who becomes the president of the country. But Mr. President Tinubu has done such consequences, and looking at the interest of the vast majority of the citizens of Nigeria, development is at the peak of this government, and that is why the president summoned the courage, filed that suit, and this morning, the Supreme Court of Nigeria also came clean to ensure that the law is properly put in proper perspective, and today is Freedom Day for local government councils in Nigeria. And I, as an advocate of full autonomy for local government, I am pleased with this development, and I congratulate Mr. President, and I congratulate Nigerians for this victory for democracy.
Absolutely. So the Supreme Court, as of today, has barred the 36 state governors from further retaining or utilizing funds meant for the local government areas. Precisely, what does this mean for grassroots development? And what used to be the situation while you were chairman? Was it a situation where you don't get the full funds or you don't get any?
Well, the truth of the matter is that before now, you are aware that there is what is called a state joint account, where monies accruing to local government councils from the federation account are paid into that account. And the purpose is simply for collection and distribution. But that has never been the case. And because the law also provides that 10% of IGR generated from that state will be paid into that account before such monies are distributed to the local government councils. But over time, it was realized that there are other transactions that usually take place on that account. And then the Buhari government came up with the NFIU guideline instructing that that account must be just for transit, just for collection and distribution. Now, because of the state joint account, it created the Joint Account Allocation Committee at the state level with the Commissioner for Local Government Councils as chair. Now, what usually happens for me as local government, what you see is that they will tell you, you remove salaries of workers as a first line charge, putting all the funds, for instance, in Nasarawa State for 13 local government into a pool, then you remove salaries for workers, other deductions for traditional councils because 5% goes to them, and other sundry deductions before whatever is left is given to local government councils. Now, the case with this judgment is that joint account is abolished by this judgment. It means that the state joint account is gone for good. And this is in the best interest of local government, and it will put local government councils on their toes. If you are overstaffed and you cannot pay salary, whatever comes from the federation account, it's up to you as a council to look inward and generate IGR, because most local government councils, because of the situation the state has put the local government in, they just go there, do whatever biddings of the governor. They don't care if IGR can be exploited within their jurisdiction. They just believe that at the end of the month, monies will be made available to them to pay workers' salary. So today is a new dawn for local government councils. And of course, it will put local government councils that are serious on their toe. And if they are not serious, their citizens will show them the way out, because you cannot blame any state governor anymore for whatever failure your councils will be encountering going forward.
What is the place of loyalty to the state government in all of this? We've seen chairmen prostrate to their governors. We've seen elections where, it solely just goes the way of the political party in power. Does financial autonomy, will it necessarily translate into real autonomy if these chairmen still take their instructions from Mr. Governor?
Well, for me, financial autonomy is the real autonomy, if you ask me, because you cannot run a government without funding. So if you have financial autonomy, you are an independent entity. So whatever happens with those funds is strictly and entirely that of your business. So for me, loyalty has nothing to do with the administration of the local government. As far as I'm concerned, you can be loyal and still deliver the goods. Now, where the governors are coming in is the fact that they conduct local government council election into this council, into their offices, and they decide who wins the election. Because I've always said that these local government elections are usually not transparent. The opposition are usually not given a level playing ground to participate. And that is why every state that conducts election, the party that the governor spearhead wins 100%. There can never be a fair election where one party wins it all. Now, even at that, governors are unable to even conduct that seeming selection they call election. A lot of them cannot conduct. You see what is happening in Rivers. You see what is happening in Nasarawa State. The term of the local government council will expire in October. And the state electoral body has not commenced any process at all to conduct that election. Now, even though the election is usually not transparent, but we want such elections to take place, let whoever that is selected go into the office, and these monies are paid to him directly from the federation account. Let him be the one to be held accountable, not the governor. So if today you are made a local government chairman, monies are sent to you directly, and for any reason you withdraw such funds and take to the state government, it's entirely your business. You will have your day to battle with the EFCC and ICPC. I believe now with this autonomy that has been granted, EFCC and ICPC will strengthen their surveillance at the local government councils in Nigeria.
Hold that thought for a minute. We'll talk more about the implementation of the Apex Court judgment and what transparent elections also would mean for this new development. But that will be after this break. Stay with us, everyone.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teachers.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything.
If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands, a familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Honorable Akala Samuel is former local government chairman in Nasarawa State, Karu local government area. Thank you for staying the course on the program. You're saying now that more spotlight will now shine on governance at the grassroots, especially now that everyone knows that local government areas have financial autonomy. But then they also just don't get appointed. They have to first be elected. And they are probably going to be sponsored by the political parties. And, you know, you talk about the influence of the governors in this regard. What does this mean when we look at the autonomy that Nigerians are quite excited about? If the elections, for instance, some have said perhaps INEC should conduct the election and not state independent electoral commissions. Well, I think we lost connection for a bit with Mr. Samuel, but interesting development across board, especially when you consider the years of neglect of governance at the grassroots. Mr. Samuel, if you can hear me, I'm asking how these elections, how important are they, especially the conduct and, you know, the integrity of the process as to the delivery of local government chairmen moving forward?
Of every the results of every leadership is anchored on the recruitment process. The truth of the matter is that if you don't have a credible election that can throw up the first 11 in that community to select one of the best to administer such a community, you do not expect results from such an administration. So it is very important that elections are conducted properly so that competent administrator can emerge at the end of the day. And that is the only way where this set of leaders will be able to understand what it means to administer a tier of government. There are a lot of leaders at the third tier of government today who do not really understand what it means, what the local government is even created for. What are the functions of the local government? You know, and that is why we have continued to have this monumental failure and waste of resources at that level of government. But with what has happened today, there is a need for deliberate effort by stakeholders, including the National Assembly. The National Assembly must provide the necessary ingredients to support this autonomy, to ensure that elections are properly conducted, if possible, taken over by the federal INEC, so that this election can be credible to produce competent leaders that can administer the third tier of government and apply these resources accordingly to meet the yearnings of the people.
Honorable Akala Samuel, thank you so much for talking to us. Time will tell how all of these would impact positively or otherwise on local government, governance and development at the grassroots. Thank you so much for talking to us on the program this hour.
It's my pleasure.
All right, let's turn our attention now